I was told LinkedIn was the best way to get clients for businesses that help other businesses. So I spent the last 92 days and over 240 hours testing this out. And when I say I, it's more the royal I. I hired an admin assistant in order to help me with this. If you're new here, hey, I'm Jason. I build websites that help service and coaching businesses look like experts online by showcasing their past and current projects. And currently I do about 10,000 a month, and I'm documenting my journey of getting to 50,000 a month in order to help you grow your business faster as well. In last week's video, I went through my grand marketing plan of how I plan to do that, but the 10-second summary is Facebook, LinkedIn, and content creation is where I'm planning to get eyeballs on my stuff. My main call to action from that is then getting people to my website or getting them to download a free resource so I can get their email. I'm then going to be moving them over to an email list in order to nurture our relationship. And from that, I'm hoping to book in calls and then ultimately have people become clients. Today, I'll be diving into my experience on LinkedIn to answer the question, is LinkedIn really the best platform for B2B businesses to get clients? In future weeks, I'll be diving into Facebook, my email flows, content creation, and showing you how all of that kind of stuff works. I'm just getting that side of things started, so I don't have as much data around that as I do with LinkedIn. When first starting on LinkedIn, I kept hearing the same message over and over again. And that is LinkedIn is a great place to generate leads, but a lot of people put in hardly any effort, and so it doesn't go so well for them. That's why I came up with my sell the farm plan, which was basically put in so much effort that it would be unreasonable for me to not get results. Or so I thought. A bit of context for you that are not familiar with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is kind of like Facebook. You can send friend requests, which are called connection requests. You are only allowed to send up to 100 a week. It's LinkedIn's way of stopping people from spamming. People then accept those connection requests, and then you can message them and have a bit more of a conversation, with the goal then being to turn that conversation into a sales call. My plan to maximize connection acceptance was based on a post I saw from a guy who said he gets 90% acceptance rates by doing this one simple thing, or not so simple thing. That is by commenting on a post from a prospect, waiting a day, following their account, waiting a day, commenting on another post, waiting a day, and then sending them a personalized connection request based on the content that they've put out. Part 2 of my plan, in order to get more calls booked, was to offer something really valuable, and that was to redesign half of somebody's homepage to give them an idea of what can be improved in as little effort as possible. These are the results after 27 business days with 6 hours a day of effort being spent by my virtual assistant. She costs $10 an hour if you're curious. She sent 294 connection requests, 89 of them accepted, so that is an acceptance rate of 31%. She then messaged 78 of them. If you're curious what the message was, I would initially send a message asking them for their advice. If they've responded saying they were happy to give me some advice, I would then say I'm looking to niche down into the mortgage broking industry, because at that time I was just targeting mortgage brokers, offering them some free work in exchange to getting their thoughts on the industry. We got 30 replies from those 78 messages, so that's a 38% reply rate, and I ultimately ended up booking 3 calls, which meant 3 free redesigns for 3 different businesses. One of them asked for a quote, but unfortunately I got a big fat 0 in terms of new clients. But I did get 2 learnings. The first being action leads to clarity. By chatting to these mortgage brokers, I realized that mortgage brokers weren't really an ideal target market for what I wanted. A lot of them were one-man bands and didn't have the budget in order to do the work that was required. The second learning was that there needs to be a need. One of the 3 people that said yes was just getting started out, and he just wanted a free hand, but didn't have money to actually use my services. The second 2 people said yes more just to help me out and give me advice. They didn't really see their need for redoing their website at this point in time. One did ask for a quote after chatting when she saw what was possible, but when she went back to her business, she probably had other priorities that sucked her back into her daily life and realized that it was probably not a priority of hers. So this then marks the start of phase 2, Operation Rethinking My Life Choices. I made a few changes. I stopped targeting smaller businesses and only targeted businesses with 5 or 10 plus employees. And I stopped offering free work. Actually, I stopped messaging people in general and just was sending connection requests. The last significant change was changing the connection process from connect, wait a day, follow, wait a day, connect, wait a day, send a personalized connection request, to simply commenting and following on one day and then sending a blank or empty connection request the next day. These are the results. Over the next 27 business days, we sent 520 connection requests, which only took 2 hours per day instead of 6, which was great. 225 of them accepted. So this was a 42% acceptance rate, which was actually higher than the 31% connection request acceptance rate that we were previously getting. I sent 0 messages to these people, but I did get 1 call booked, and that was from somebody checking out my profile and messaging me directly. We ended up hopping on a call, but unfortunately he wasn't a good fit, and so we didn't end up working together. There were a few lessons that I learned in this phase. The first being that more is not always more, meaning that more effort doesn't always result in better results. In the second phase, I only spent 2 hours a day doing this work, but I got 27% more connection requests than phase one, where we were spending 6 hours a day. Another learning that I had is that people hate being sold. And so I had to put myself in their lives without asking them to hop on a call or any of that kind of thing. I needed to make it seem like their idea. That was when I went into phase three, operation, new identity. I completely rebranded and repositioned my business to no longer be a high converting website designer and more along the lines of helping service and coaching businesses look like experts online by showcasing their work, which is the only way to look like an expert. We released a new website which showcased a lot of the work that we've done and the results that we got for clients, and we completely rewrote our LinkedIn profile. That was basically the only change, and this phase only lasted for 6 days. Here are the results. We sent 120 connection requests, so that's 20 a day. 47 of them accepted, 39%, which is a few percent lower than the previous phase, although it's not significant enough or a long enough period to really make a judgment on that. But the cool part of this phase is I got one call booked, and this person was a good fit and ultimately ended up becoming a client. Woohoo! It only took a casual 200 something hours in order to get our first client. The lesson that I had from phase three is learning that bigger businesses are regular people too. I used to be intimidated by targeting bigger clients. For me, bigger was, 5, maybe 50 plus employee businesses. But now I've come to realize they're just regular people with regular problems. One big learning that I had from this phase is that the value of my service isn't just dictated by how good I am, it's dictated by who I'm helping. The client that we ended up getting through this was a multi-7-figure business that was already established, and it made sense for them because they could get more results from the work that we can do. This realization hit home again when I was talking to a friend of mine who in just 6 months has grown his business to $30,000 to $50,000 a month in revenue. And the reason being is not just because of what he's doing, it's because of who he's helping. He's helping huge mining companies with huge problems that are willing to pay to solve their problems because it's worth it for them. And so an average client for him can be worth $50,000 to $100,000. This then moves us into the current phase, phase four, operation, bait and wait. The only change for this phase is to start messaging people again. But instead of asking people to jump on a call or offering free work, I'm just sending through a message, which is more templated, so it's a bit easier, offering them a free video to help solve a specific problem. Here's a message for that if you're curious. The goal of this message is to get people's email address so that I can start sending them weekly emails, which will contain one concept sent once a week that can be read in under a minute to help them achieve the goal of cementing their authority through their website. We're only 6 days into this phase, so I don't have too much data to show, but here's the results so far. We've sent 120 connection requests, 32 of them accepted, which is a 26% acceptance rate. My thoughts on this is that it could be because people haven't had a chance to accept the last few connection requests that we've sent, or it could just be that they're sniffing out that I want to send them a message and they're not accepting. I'll keep you posted on this one. Even though we've just had 32 people accept, we have been messaging some of the people from phase 2 and 3. So I've sent 120 messages so far, and we've had 3 people ask for the resource, 2 have handed over their email address, 1 conversation is still in progress, and we've had someone else ask for a proposal, which in their situation, they weren't a good fit for us, but nonetheless, it's still progress. So that means we're seeing around a 2 to 2.5% conversion rate on these messages that we're sending in terms of turning into emails. So the main learning after all of this is that people don't buy straight away, they need to trust you, and trust takes time to build. And so after chatting to a few more people, I think the best way to do LinkedIn is build relationships with people first before trying to pitch them, which makes sense, right? But what that means is having conversations with people, seeing where they're at with their business, and that can take weeks or months in order to go through this process. And it's also kind of hard to get someone else to do it because they really have to understand your business. You need to have a process around that. And so this is not really something that I'm willing to do. My plan is a lot of touch method, send connection requests to people, send a templated message, seeing if they'd be willing to hand over their email for something valuable, and leave it at that. In terms of next steps though, if we assume that I did get 3 emails from this work and it's taking 10 hours a week in order to do that, that means it takes about 3.5 hours for 1 email address at $10 an hour, which is what I'm paying my virtual assistant. That's $35. $35 per lead. Now, from past tests I've done on Facebook, I was getting leads for $9 to $10. So if these numbers continue into the future, then it probably won't even be worth continuing the messages and personalized targeting and connection requests. What I might do then is just use software like LinkedIn Helper to just automate the process of sending blank connection requests and leave it at that. Another thing that I'm planning to do in the future is actually comment on other business owners that are posting content on LinkedIn. Previously, I found when I've done that, so 20 comments per day, I got 4 times the number of views on the content I was posting. And so I'll lean more heavily into the content, maybe comment on other people's posts. And when I say me comment, again, virtual assistant will do the commenting, and hopefully that'll boost the engagement rate, and then just leave the messaging side of things alone. That's potentially where things could be going in the future. But as always, I'll keep you updated on that. And that's it for this video. If you'd like to dive into the results I'm having with content and Facebook and all of that kind of stuff as that comes through in the future, feel free to subscribe to follow along and hopefully speed up your journey as well. Catch up.